year was 1824, and a young John Cadbury was selling drinking chocolate, a product so rare that only the wealthy elite could afford it. Little did he know that his humble chocolate drinks would evolve into solid bars, dominate markets across the world, and turn into a multi-billion-dollar empire. But what if I told you that Cadbury's success wasn't solely due to his chocolate? It also involved a village, a family rivalry, and a corporate battle that shook the world. This is the unconventional story of Cadbury, a brand that stood the test of time, shaped generations, and still dominates supermarket shelves today. John Cadbury was born into a Quaker family, a group known for their strict values, ethical business practices, and, interestingly, a strong opposition to alcohol. In an era where beer and gin were the drinks of choice, yes, even in the mornings, John saw an opportunity. Instead of selling alcohol, he set up a shop in 1824 to sell tea, coffee, and a new drink, hot chocolate. Chocolate wasn't the solid bar we know today. It was a rich, bitter drink, enjoyed only by the upper class. The process of making it was expensive, and cocoa beans were heavily taxed, making chocolate a luxury. At first, John's business was successful, but by the 1860s, trouble was brewing. Sales were declining, and the company was on the verge of shutting down. That's when his two sons, Richard and George, took control and made one bold move that changed everything. By 1866, Cadbury was facing fierce competition. Other companies had more resources, better distribution, and bigger customer bases. So how did they fight back? Innovation. They discovered a new cocoa press developed in the Netherlands that removed the bitter cocoa butter, making chocolate smoother, purer, and creamier. It was cheaper to produce, tasted better, and could be mass-produced, exactly what Britain needed. This one breakthrough catapulted Cadbury into the global market, allowing it to export its chocolate worldwide. But there was one more secret to their success, a radical social experiment that no other business had dared to try. Unlike other factory owners who exploited workers for maximum profit, the Cadbury brothers did something unheard of. In 1878, instead of building a larger factory in the city, they bought land in the countryside and built an entire village for their workers. They called it Bourneville. This was not just a factory town, it was a community. It had schools for workers' children, parks and gardens, affordable housing, no pubs or bars because of their Quaker beliefs. This wasn't just a charitable act, it was a business masterstroke. By creating a happy, healthy workforce, they ensured loyalty, increased productivity, and a workforce that thrived for generations. And just as Cadbury was reshaping business ethics, they were about to revolutionize chocolate itself. By the early 1900s, Swiss chocolate brands were leading the industry. Their secret? Milk chocolate, ... But making milk chocolate on a large scale was nearly impossible. British manufacturers were struggling until Cadbury cracked the code. In 1905, they introduced dairy milk, the first chocolate bar with a higher milk content than any competitor. This wasn't just a new chocolate bar, it was a game changer. It was cheaper, creamier, and had better mass appeal than anything before. By 1914, dairy milk became Cadbury's best-selling product, a title it still holds today. But the company was about to face its biggest challenge yet: two world wars that threatened to wipe out the entire chocolate industry. During World War I, over 2,000 of Cadbury's workers joined the British Armed Forces. Instead of cutting production, Cadbury started sending free chocolate in supplies to soldiers. By the time World War II hit, chocolate was rationed, and Cadbury's factories were used for war production. It seemed like the company would struggle to recover. But instead, after the war, chocolate became a symbol of joy and happiness, and Cadbury came back stronger than ever. By the 1950s, Cadbury was leading the UK chocolate market, and in 1969, they made a move that changed everything, merging with Schweppes. This was the start of a new era, one where Cadbury wasn't just chocolate anymore. But it wasn't all good news. By the 2000s, Cadbury was a global powerhouse. Then in 2010, an American giant, Kraft Foods, made a hostile takeover bid worth $16 billion. Cadbury fought back, refusing to sell. But after months of pressure and negotiations, Kraft won. This was hugely controversial because Kraft had promised to keep UK factories open. But shortly after the takeover, they shut down major production plants. For many, this felt like the end of Cadbury as a British company. But despite the corporate changes, Cadbury remains one of the most beloved chocolate brands in the world. Fast forward to 2024, and Cadbury is celebrating its 200th anniversary. It sells 250 million dairy milk bars each year. It generates over $5 billion in annual revenue, and it remains one of the most recognizable chocolate brands in history. From a tiny tea shop in Birmingham to a global empire, Cadbury's journey is a testament to resilience, vision, and of course, chocolate. So what can we learn from Cadbury? First is that adaptation is everything. John Cadbury started with tea, but his sons pivoted to chocolate, changing history. Second is that innovation leads to success. Dairy milk was the first of its kind, and it dominated the market. And finally, brand loyalty is powerful. Despite ownership changes, Cadbury is still a household name. Do you enjoy stories like this? Subscribe to Brand Chronicles for more revealing brand stories.